Don't wanna miss this train. So Lord, we thank you in advance. People get ready, get ready.
Good God afternoon, people of God. You have tuned into The Solution. I am one of your hosts, Minister Corey Wright, with co-host April the Agent. And as usual, we offer solutions, which is dedicated acts of action that bring about true change, not just talked about change, and no excuses. Excuses are man's tools of incompetence that build bridges of nowhere and monuments of nothing. Broadcasting live at IntellectualRadio.com, our high radio station. Today we are talking about this whole week, but we're talking about kids and how kids growing up. But today we're talking about cursing at kids, the effects that it have on cursing at kids. So today we're going to be talking, you're going to be really blown away by the effect that cursing at kids have on kids. And so that's what we're gonna talk about today. I'm joined with my talented, amazing co-host today. Thank goodness. Hey, my man Enoch watching. Wow, that's a blessing. Got Enoch watching. I'm gonna take another picture. Say cheese. Say chicken wings.
All guys are very interesting.
Internet. So open comments about what do you think about cursing at kids?
I do understand how a person could get there because I have children of my own. But there's a level, and of course you should not curse at your kids, but there's a level that you don't go. The way that you talk to your kids, you have to think about how it affects you as an adult. You know, it's going to affect them even worse than it affects you if you say certain things to them. If somebody just come off to you and just be, you know, talk to you in a manner that is disrespectful, basically you're disrespecting your child. Your child is still a human being, even though they're younger or they're smaller, they're still a human being and they don't know how to grasp what you're saying to them. They're going to be taken back. They're going to be very hurt about it. It may be something that affects them for the long term. Is that you need to think about when you talk to your children about anything, and especially if you choose to use profanity against them.
That's powerful. Let me before I say my opening comments, I want to go a statistic. Do you know most kids before they get to the third grade already know how to use curse words in 30 to 40 different kinds of arrangements? See, that's the first thing I would think about because they are learning from us. The word association when it comes to curse words, how they can be two different meanings for the same word, but since we say the word to our kids, we are condoning them using it in another manner. Curse words is a verbal form of harassment, abuse to a child without physically putting your hands on them. Standards for their aggression, and it sets the standards for their dialogue. Because we teach aggression, and we teach reassurance, and most of it starts with our words. And hey, Patricia, how you doing? Get that. Verbal assault is substitute for physical aggression. And see, a lot of parents say, well, I curse and I fuss so that I won't have to hit the child. And you're doing greater damage to a child's psyche than you would be actually hitting a child. Because kids are mirrors and they are walking, talking VCRs. They will keep, or for the modern people, they're walking, talking DVD players, and they will repeat everything you say. It is imperative as parents that we watch what we say to our kids because we are setting a standard. Even though we are in authority, in charge, we still live in a society of people that are visual. Statistics and some of the other things, because there is a word association with every curse word you use. It blows me away when you think about it. So we have to understand that curse words, especially at a kid, a kid that's trying to learn, a kid, because see, we make dysfunction normal to a kid. Cursing can be normal to a kid that hears it every day. Third graders that can cuss you out. They might not be able to spell or do multiplication, but they'll tell you in a minute. I heard the worst thing the other day. Couldn't have been no more than 9 years old, telling another 7-year-old that I seen your mama juicing somebody with her dirty so-and-so. And I'm looking like, these are kids. I'm walking past these kids like, what? Now, this will come from the parents. See, these kids need a whooping, but so some of these parents do. But we're going to talk about it. If you all want to talk about that, your number is 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953. My co-host, what is cursing to you when it comes to kids?
Like, children should not use curse words. They shouldn't be using profanity, point blank, period. You stated that it comes from the parents. Sometimes it doesn't come from the parents. Sometimes it could be a household where the parent don't necessarily use profanity, but it could be some of the aunts or uncles or the different households they're around, their friends. They go to school and they pick up these things, and that goes back to the other discussion we were having about not, about paying attention to our children and discussing everything with them, paying attention to who they're around, what they're doing, having that open dialogue with them, because it's not always from the parents who have situations with cursing, because I've heard some crazy things come out of kids' mouths, and I know their parents didn't say the things that they were saying on the things that they're saying. Always the parents.
Well, you got to understand, a kid break down.
Kids do things out of their parents' presence that they wouldn't do normally.
But it has to start somewhere.
It does start somewhere, but it's not necessarily say that it's the parents. I'm not saying that all the time it's not the parents. I know sometimes it is the parents, but I'm just saying all the time you can't say that it's the parents.
They got to hear it
somewhere. The thing is, where are they hearing it from? Maybe they're hearing it from home. Maybe they're hearing it from a friend's house. Maybe they're hearing it from aunts and uncles. Maybe they're hearing it from adult conversations. Who knows where they hear it from?
That's possible. We're going to get into that.
Conversations, because they're in school with kids that's listening to it at home, and
I'm going to tell you something.
Their friends saying crazy things, and they think it's cool to say crazy things. They're trying to fit in.
I seen a girl mouth in the world, and I could not understand. I was like, wow, this little girl got this dirty mouth. She couldn't have been in 8th grade, every MF, mother, this be this, this be that. And then I said hello to her mama. Well, don't be trying to talk to me. You probably got a woman with your cheating age. And I'm just like, you just met me. My mom cussed so much her bottom lip hang.
Shut up.
She was saying curse words. Her lip wasn't moving. You say words so long and so often, your lips won't move. About cursing association a little bit later in the show. But again, so let me ask you a question then. Is it the music? Is it the movie? Is it those things that's harming children? Is it the internet? Is it the phones? Is it the access to whatever you want? Is that what's making kids have dirty mouths?
It's part of it. I mean, it's what you are exposed to. You're exposed to these things. Yeah. It's a lot of sexuality on TV. It's a lot of cursing on TV. It's a lot of violence on TV. All those things your kids are being exposed to.
Hey, you on the Solutions Radio Show. Who's this? Hello?
Yes, hi. You're on a recorded line. My name is Angie. I was trying to get a hold of Earl.
Oh, wrong number.
Wrong number. I'm trying to get a hold of Earl, the bill collector.
you want to sell something,
right? They're trying to sell something. They kill you. They call you, and they call you like they know you. Hi, is Corey here? Here, I don't want to buy anything. No, but think about now. You say that could affect it. Okay. Search. When I was reading this, saying that most kids that hear music, hear TV shows, and stuff that's derogatory, that use bad language, it doesn't affect them because they have not heard nothing that they haven't heard already. See, we got to understand something. We get to the point, see, this is, I'm telling you, when I watched this, because when I was preparing for this show, I was really doing a lot of research on the long-term effects that it had, that cursing that your kids have. Understand that, because what we're doing is turning out mini-me's. But we say we want to blame it on the rap music. We want to blame it because you know why? Their perception goes as far as you give them. And that's something that a lot of people won't take the hand. I don't curse at my kids. I don't use bad language to my kids. I don't call them out their name because I don't want nobody to call me out there, but I don't want them to call somebody else to call them out their name. But I've seen some mothers very derogatory towards their kids. Come here, you dumb son of a B. You think about this. How many kids I've watched mothers call their kids MFs? Now, we talk about word association. Think about something. We're wondering why our girls, our young teen girls, are having so many babies. But how many times do parents say you effed up? F-U-C-K. You effed up. Another term. But what happens when there is somebody who's trying to get in there? They use the same term. Okay. We don't think about that. We use something, the word ASS. ASS many a time. They call kids ASS. Okay. Again, that's a donkey. That could be somebody that's ignorant, but that could also be frame of mind trying to get some. You know, how many use the word GD, God darn it? I ain't gonna use no curse word, but God darn it. Of God is damn it. So, but then you use it in another word. Yeah, you think about, so how can mothers get mad at the kids for messing over them if they call them a mother effer? Think about that. Word association. Associate, because all they doing is taking the words that they've been called and flip it to another direction. How many people been called stupid, but wonder why their kids didn't graduate? You a stupid son of a B. Are you a stupid son? How many use these words and these kids grow up that way? You know, what do you think about that?
Well, that's the same. That's the thing that I said. I mean, you have to think about how would you feel if someone came up to you and called you a dumb SOB or, a stupid B or, those kind of things. If somebody come up to you, you ready to fight if they say that to you. So if you say that to your child, the child's going to be like, dang, this is my mom talking to me or my dad talking to me, and they're going to be hurt. I mean, they're going to be hurt in a major way. And it's gonna take something away from them. Parents saying that to them.
You know why? You said something great. You know why it beats a child up? Because they can't fight back.
Mental and emotional abuse.
According to
we
research,
talk about it in relationships, but that's mental and emotional abuse to your child.
According to researchers, swearing develops in a child in the same manner as vocabulary do. See, I write the points down. You want me to read my notes? Go on, go all in my notes. Don't get my notes, huh? See, all of in my notes.
This guy's funny.
Vocabulary. Think about something. We are speaking life and death out of our mouths. And how many times you got parents, moms, or dad, you ain't no good like your dad. You know what? Your mama you ain't gonna be nothing. These words, people's mind and kids' psyche. Because kids didn't actually come here. You ever use curse words at your kids?
Of course. I have 4 kids. I've gone through those moments, and that's why I can understand people who have those Homer Simpson moments where they just want to choke their kids, but you don't act on it. You know, you don't. I've had
DCFS. I hope y'all watch it.
You know, you want to choke your kids, you want to curse them out, and I don't curse my kids out, but I have used profanity. I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that's not reality. People don't do that, but I am the type of parents that do try to shield my kids from certain things when they were little. My kids are adults now. They're, pretty much adults. My youngest daughter is 18 now. I would try to shield them for certain things. I would not. I prefer for people not to use profanity around my kids. I prefer for them not to see certain things. That's the type of parent I am, and that's why I could say that it doesn't necessarily have to be from the home. Kids talking like that. It could be their friends at school that they meet that are talking like this. Maybe they got it from their home or their uncles or their aunts. But I was that parent that didn't want my children to see certain things, didn't want my kids exposed to certain things. I didn't want them to hear certain things. That was just me. And I know it's a lot of parents out there that are like me and that were like me small. So I know that it's people like that don't want their kids listening to that and being exposed to certain things. But then again, like I said, you have kids, your kids have friends, they have aunts and uncles, they go to other people's houses, they go to school, and they're exposed to these things. So then you pray over them and you tell them, and you make sure they can come to you and ask you questions about different things that they may have heard or experienced. You ask them about their day when they come in from school. Discussions with them. You make sure you explain to them things and break it down. Prime example. Potter came out. Everybody like, don't let your kids watch Harry Potter. It's witchcraft. Da 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 da. Harry Potter is very intriguing. Kids want to watch Harry Potter. They want to, see what's going on. Harry Potter is intriguing. So for me, Potter was. So I talked to my kids about Harry Potter, explained to them what Harry Potter was. We pray about Harry Potter. You don't repeat these little incantations and these little spirits and all this stuff. Don't repeat that stuff. Because they're going to go to their friend's house and watch it. Am I going to buy Harry Potter DVDs and have them in my house? No. But do their cousins have them? Probably. Do their friends have them? Probably.
That's crazy. Harry Potter about rich. It's a movie of entertainment. People just get nuts with crazy mess.
Still, because it is. It's witchcraft. I mean, it's exposing you to witchcraft. It's just like
it's a movie.
It's a movie, but
if I see a movie of somebody jumping off a building, am I gonna say, "Whoa, I'm gonna do what the movie do"?
No,
I'm gonna jump off the building.
A lot of people not gonna do that, but a lot of people are, because a lot of people sick in the head and their minds are weak. So you see stuff that happen every day.
Anybody got a problem with Harry Potter? Y'all need help. Go talk to somebody.
I don't have a problem with Harry Potter.
She need to go talk to somebody.
No, who?
You. Ain't no owls in here. Who? You.
No, I don't need to go talk to nobody. I'm good. I could watch Harry Potter. I'm just saying that's the prime example.
So your kids will come and say, "We watch Hogwash." I'm gonna go to Hogwash.
No.
And they call it Hogwash or Hogwash.
Hogwarts.
See, she know it, but she didn't want to buy the movie.
I'm not gonna buy the movie.
Mike, help her.
I'm not into Harry
Lay
Potter.
hands on her, Mike.
I'm not into Harry Potter. I curse when talking to my kids sometimes, but I don't call them out their names. That was Vanessa. Well, I used to watch Chucky.
Right. You didn't want to go kill nobody. Come on, Mike, you got to call in, man. 708-223-8953.
Chucky is the doll.
708-223-8953.
The psychotic doll. Chucky.
I mean, it's just like that movie Candyman. I ain't going I don't believe in all that, but I ain't going to no bathroom. If I go to the bathroom, I'm going there for 2 things. But I ain't going in there. You ain't going in there for, go looking on mirror and repeating no names. No. But
what about Bloody Mary?
No, I didn't do that neither. Some stuff, listen. Some stuff I don't believe in, but I ain't gonna do it. I believe if I can run into a bus, I won't die, but I ain't gonna go run in the bus and try it. Things you just don't want to do. Some people want to try. No, not me. But it's crazy. We get eccentric with stuff. You know what I mean? Don't lift your hand up like this. When I was young, right hand inching, you're going to get some money. I say, man, why can't it be dirt? My right hand inch, a lot of days I was broke. I look at it, who going to give me some money? Give me some money. So come on, man, this stuff. We just get carried away
I'm
with stuff.
saying that as an example of things you may not want your child exposed to, but they still may get exposed to it anyway.
Okay,
I hate
Courtney.
to hear parents call their children out of their names.
And that's right. Because
Agreed.
you tell them. Now, let's go deep. 708-223-8953. Is social society or social environment a reason why? So, if they live in the projects, they live in an urban neighborhood where you're exposed to drugs, you're exposed to alcoholism all the time, gang banging, and there is lack of respect. Is that an environment that your kids is like normal, or is okay? Because you want your kids to be tough. You know, I don't want my kids to be a punk, to grow up in the jets. They gotta be tough. So I can't come to them like I come to them like the streets. Now people say come like the street. Society or social environment a reason to curse at your kids?
That it is. I don't agree that it would be, because it still would be based on the parents and based on their parenting skills, based on their thought process and their belief system. Just because you live in a ghetto, you have to act like the ghetto. You know, your focus is, if you live in a project or a subsidized housing or something like that, the purpose of that is to do it for a time. That's not for you to live there forever. It's not to stay there. That's just my thought process. So.
And I agree, because I'm gonna tell you something. I grew up in the Robert Taylor homes years. My grandmother moved in the Robert Taylor home, 5323 building, South Federal. She moved in there. Let me see what Janet said. I believe children are cursed.
Cursed that as a result of a learned behavior. It's a pathological cycle passed down.
Janet, I love you. You're right. From Finger, call in 708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. Robert Taylor home 809 floor. And these people, they respect it. They respected people. They would go hit the freights, whatever they do, knock on people's doors, sell them what they hit, and people used to buy them. But they were really respectful. They would take their hat off. They see somebody coming in the projects. Environment does not make it, because I grew up in the projects, and I don't disrespect nobody, especially no elderly person, nobody. More to great standard. So it ain't the environment, but sometimes we always use that environment. Our kids into something hard, making it something tough. You know, they don't want to be no punks. You know, please. You know, a punk to me is not somebody that's tough on the streets. So, is the one that take care of his family, take care of people, become something. That's the tough person. So, social environment is not a reason why.
Correct.
Okay. What if it's the parenting discipline? What if a parent says, for me to get through to them, is to holler and cuss at them? Do you feel that's so?
No. So I feel that, like I said before, sometimes parents need to take a time out from things and come back to it later so that they can deal with it properly. Because while some people can handle that militant type of discipline, some people can't. It makes them clam up and make them do something totally out of character. It could make them fall apart, you know, or anything. So you have to, you know, you have, like me, I have four children, and none of my children are exactly alike. They all have their own personalities and traits and different things that they can do, different things that they like and don't like. So every child and every person is not the same. You have to deal with your children accordingly. And if you beating them up every day, that's gonna leave some serious scars. You know, psychopaths and all type of personality disorders. These things are a result from people being abused and as children. So,
you know, so many people, you know, they get angry and they talk about what's going on. My last point is habits and emotional circumstances with the parents has a lot to do with the way they talk to their kid. too many unstable parents that's trying to raise stable kids. And like Janice said, it's passed on and passed down. I gave birth to this child. I have a right to talk to them, not understanding I'm either growing them or I'm planting them. Social environment can have an effect to the point that they hear stuff outside of the house. That's why, like you said, the talking to has to be about what is right. What, just because you hear evil don't mean you have to repeat it or say evil. Because I know going to school that I cussed like a sailor. And, my mom wasn't a big cusser, but I heard a lot of cussing. But my mom used, she would get mad. She'd get mad. Anybody get mad? Because I'm not going to say I've never cursed in front of my kids because I've got mad or they've gotten me mad, but I've never them or call them out their name. And, my thing was more like putting my foot in their behind. That's what they understood. Because, when I'm mad, I'm the complete opposite. When I'm angry and I get quiet, now you got a problem. And I'm fussing, you good. But the minute I stop talking, now I have nothing else to say. Now it's time to react. It's time for me to put my hand. My kids know, sit down. As long as I keep telling you to stop, as long as I keep telling you to do something, you good. Last time, and the next time that happens, I'm going to respond differently. That's when they get it. That's when they get it. So, another thing is emotion. Like I said, emotional and habits of circumstantial habits of the parent. Give my kids a chance to say something intelligent to me, because I'm gonna always give you a way to talk, to be honest, to talk your way out of this whooping or talk your way out of punishment, because I want you to learn a lesson more than I want you to feel the pain. Say what it do, and what I'm looking for when I do that is for them to own up to it. Excuses. That's why I say every show, excuses are man's tools of incompetence that build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothing. I did it. Own it. I take responsibility. I messed up. Whatever happens, happen. It won't happen again, but I did it. Own up. So that's a cop out. Let me ask you a question. When you look at curse words, have you ever thought of the damage of these words can have in the actions of our kids? Dr. Ruth Donor. I got that Oprah thing going on. Dr. Ruth Donor.
You know who Dr. Ruth is?
That's a sex therapist lady,
yes.
But I'm just saying, I ain't saying I sound, you know what?
You said you sound like Dr.
I'm
Ruth.
talking about Fire's ability.
Why you always want to start fights with me? And I'm going to just laugh every time.
The good nerves she working. We trying to talk about kid. You see that?
Okay, so have I ever thought about what the effects of cursing at a child would do to their
context of their thinking, their development? You think about something like you call a kid the B word, not the B-I-T-C-H, but a B-A-S-T-A-E word. You dumb, you know.
Well, I think sometimes kids don't even know what you're saying to them if they're very young. Me personally, I wouldn't use that language towards a small child because
Sure, who's this?
This is Janet, Corey. How are you?
Hi.
What's up, Miss Janet? Hey. My finger tight. My homie from Wyoming. What's going on?
Same old stuff. Calling you live in person from Florida.
My home state.
Hey.
Girl, you move around like the Justice. Now when you in Alabama, now you in Florida?
I've been in Florida 4 years, so.
All right.
What part of Florida are you in?
I'm in Central Florida, a city called Melbourne.
Okay. So you're not too far from Orlando.
All right. How's Florida? How's things going in Florida?
Oh, they're going good. Going good. I'm about to take my son over here to the barber shop, but I wanted to on this
Go ahead.
person at your kids. I don't curse around or at my son. I talk to him with respect because that's how I want other people to talk to him. I'm the first woman that he will ever like. And the way that I talk to him will set a standard for how I want other women to talk to him. 10 years old, he has a conflict with people now that try to talk to him sideways. My child is ADHD, and he's a special needs child, but he still has a conflict with people that try to talk to him any kind of way because he doesn't live in a home where I talk to him any kind of way. I can discipline him and chastise him without calling him out of his name and cursing him out. Treat him the way I want others to treat him. And I treat him the way I would want him to treat me, I'm sorry. But, people don't have to curse their kids out. Like I put in the comment, maybe it's a pathological cycle, or what you want to call it,
a generational pass down.
Curse. Yeah, generational curse where people, because they do what they know, and that doesn't make it right because somebody was wrong somewhere, but they can't find out what's right. You do better. You can pass it on and you can set the new standard for your family. You don't have to always, do that, because if you always be done, you always get what you got. There's got to be a break in a chain somewhere. So
growing up, I'm gonna you out. She said, "What? Yes."
Oh yeah, she did, and I learned even as an adult, as I got older, because I had my son later, watching other people and how they interact with their kids. What's wrong? It's like I don't smoke things like that, and I see people that smoke cigarettes and drink around our kids. I think that's crazy.
Me too.
Stop. You don't need to do all that in front of kids. Have some kind of respect for them. Put a wall up for adult things with adults and not involve children in adult things. Line you have to draw at some point in time. So,
all right.
That's how I feel about it.
And man, I'm proud of you. You got any questions
Thank you for calling. Nope, she answered everything.
Hey, Jen, I love you, man. Call me later. We're gonna talk.
Hi, Janet.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Janet.
Yeah.
You remember what I used to call you, punky head?
Now he's the pumpkin head. The ball pumpkin head.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
See, I should only right. I think about curse words. And it's like we have not seen parents that use vulgar language to their kids. Get your, you think you talk, I slapped the, I slapped you into next week, and next week never came. Stop smacking me then. But you know what I didn't like?
Your mom gonna get you tonight.
Yeah, you know what? I never did understand though. My mom didn't cuss at me when I was young, but she always talked to me while she whooping me. She'll quit. Didn't I tell you not to do it? I'm like, wait a minute. If you quit hitting me, I answer your question. But you keep hitting me, I keep hollering. You ain't gonna get your answer question every time. Talk to me. Didn't I tell you? Quit hitting me. We was stitcher cords. We got whoop was stitch. My mom tear up something, tear us up, whoop us all day. That's why when I was out, I used to, whatever I was doing wrong, and I know I'm getting caught, I would enjoy myself for as long as I can. Because I know when I get in there, listen, my mom used to put us on punishment for semesters. Well, the next semester when I see your grades, we been there every day. That's why I'm good at entertaining myself, because we did a lot of days of punishment. So, I don't think that you need to curse at your kids.
Address Janet's call. You are funny. I was saying that we must break the cycles. There's a lot of things that we need to break the cycles of, and this is one issue that we view as minute. Really a huge issue if we look around and think about it. When I was younger, I had a problem with cursing in front of older people. That I was brought up. Friends would curse around older people. I'd be like, don't you see this lady sitting here? Or an adult. It have to be an older person, just an adult. Nowadays, I'm at the school. Cursing like grown people, sailors, up and down the halls, in the classroom, at the games. I'm like, out of what I spoke about before about the teachers not being able to discipline the children in the schools. The principals can't discipline the children. No guide in school.
Is it their job though? They're supposed to get this from the parents.
They do, but I'm just saying that the level of respect is not there. There's no level of respect. There's no level of respect. My children are not gonna sit in their classrooms and be cursing, and the teacher not call me and say, Miss Hunt, or Brandon or Asia was doing ABC, and it's not gonna be an issue. Kids do it all day, every day. They curse like sailors.
Because the parents are scared of the kids nowadays.
They scream across the street to their friends walking home. Really?
They're afraid of the kids. You have parents that don't demand respect anymore. Say, you know what? You better sit down if I bust your head. It's the parents. You can't expect these teachers to create miracles. How the teachers gonna teach these kids something that the parents don't do? That's what. Let me just say this. And
That's not what I was saying.
No.
I was talking about the level of respect, not that the teacher's responsibility. I'm saying the level of respect. The kids being in school cursing. I wasn't in school cursing. It
comes from the parents. Something. There was a time where all you had the teacher had to say, "Don't have me call your daddy." That's all you had to say. But where they at now? So you got too many. Listen, you got too many parents as each other, so they can't be parents. Then you got
say that again. Too many parents doing what?
Feuding with each other. They can't be parents. And then you
that.
got one single mother who's working 2 jobs, trying to take care of 3, 4 kids. Yes, these kids have respect because their parents don't have any. That's true. Something. So many of our kids are products of us. Let's be real about it. We can say what it is, but I'm going to tell you something. If you see a wild, dysfunctional kid, you got some member in their family, either their mother and their father is just as wild, or they get it. Life and human beings are adaptable environments. And see, if you got them in that social environment that we talked about, then they're going to do what they see. That's one thing I have learned about my life, especially as a minister, as a leader. People are watching what I do. They hear what I say. But if what I say don't match up what I do, they're going to do something different. That's what, and let me just throw this out here now because I'm a really open kid. That's why it kills me, all these people complaining about how they closing these schools. Because again, you let them fund these schools because of your lack of being into the school system, your lack of participating in the school board meetings and a lot of things, and now they're closing these schools because we didn't care about the low test scores. We didn't care about that's because you know why they're closing all these schools? Because the charter schools are taking over and they're doing something that the public schools have not been able to do, and that's educate our kids. Parents are outraged because the parents now they close the schools. But look at all the low test scores. Look at all the look at all the stuff. People are tired of living in. I went to my old alma mater 8 years ago when I applied for the city. Well, probably 9 years ago when I started working for the city of Chicago. I had to get a transcript of me graduate, and I had to go through a metal detector. It felt like school. These schools are being built like prisons. Be in the studio for this topic. You sure do, man. Call us.
708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. Give us a call, Lewis.
And this is the reason why our schools are closing. See, we want to talk about kids are not doing, but all this relies on the parents. What is the difference between the kids in the 70s and the 60s? Well, the difference was parents. My mom was a single mom that raised 3 kids. We all turned out perfect. My sister, she beat drug addiction 20 something years ago, almost 25 years ago, my brother, he still fight a little bit with alcoholism. I never did either, but again, I had to deal with depression a little bit, and God took that away from me as he moved me, elevated. So it wasn't really perfect, but my mom was a disciplinary that gave us all she could and stuck her foot in her butt. You can't look at the situation and say, well, they learn what they do. Your kids, I bet you got 4 of the amazing women, girls, women you've raised. Why? Because you amazing. Because you don't look like no pushover. They're not going to get in your face and tell you what they ain't going to do. Your face and tell you what I ain't going to do. So I know they ain't. I know we going to differ on that, but it's the parents. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I can agree on that to a level, because when you talked about I talked about the teachers calling me, reach out like that anymore, and I think it's because of the response that they get from a lot of parents. Response is not a positive response. It's the parent probably cursing the teacher out when the teacher call, and that kind of thing, or they're not getting an answer because maybe the parents are like super busy working late hours and trying to run a household just with one income. The other parent isn't doing what they're supposed to do, not doing their part. So that makes it a lot more difficult. So I think that is a big part of it with what, like you said, with the parents. I just can only talk about my point of view and me, because I can't, because I'm not them. I can't talk about somebody else's household because I don't live in their household.
You got a perm?
No, I'm all natural.
That's your hair for real?
Yes, it's flat iron.
Okay. She got a perm.
No. It's just Juice is embarrassed, baby. Juice is embarrassed. That Garnier.
What was that coming to America? He said, what kind of chemical you got in your head? But Barry, ain't nobody.
No ultra perm. No ultra perm over here.
I want to get the. Hey,
I learned a long time ago. Thank
cool.
you, Lord. I'm free.
It's cool to Kente. I laugh. The greatest experience I ever had, and I talk about it often. I wish I could find this man. Klein. I don't know his first name. If I knew his first name, I would look him up. He taught at Terrell Grammar School right there on 53rd, and if anybody know what Mr. Klein is, I don't even know if he's alive. Changed my life, because that man did something that I have never ever seen anybody do. That man went into the projects over a child. I never forgot that. My Uncle Ed, we still talk about that to this day. I never forgot that. And I told my uncle, that's my teacher, help him. They about to jack him up. And I remember all them game bangers surrounded that guy. I was like, man, where you think you going? He said, man, my name is Mr. Klein. And I don't give a D who you are. Where you think you going? It's Mr. Klein, and I am a teacher over here at Terrell. And one of my students in this building has not came to school, and I'm going to see about my student. But he said, listen, if you guys want to beat me up, hurt me, or even kill me, I'd rather die to save one of my students. Him fail and be stuck in this place. Forgot what that dude said. He said, listen, I didn't come in here with no army. I didn't come in here with no police. I came in here by myself, about to walk into this project and do that. Do you know, that I remember a little boy said, y'all too. Let nobody touch him. And he went always in all the projects, even the white buildings. He went to every project. And when Christmas came, he had residents building. Even the ones at war was bringing him gifts. He walked away with my mom gave me some money to buy donuts. I took it to him. Because this man was ready to lay down his life for a kid. Ever went in there. So, we got to look at that about it's our job to teach our kids. But let me ask you this. Children rely on parents for learning. Okay? Anger and aggression is a teachable. Aggression has never solved any situation. Is the parent responsible for anger and for aggression that's learned by the kid through cursing at them?
I mean, it came from them, so what do you mean if they're responsible for it?
Think about it. Kids more aggressive and their expression of anger normally is what they're developed at home. I'll read you what statistics say. This is what because it's not in school. People got
it's a learned behavior. They learn it from home.
Knowledge is as far as academic at school, but aggressive and personality is developed at home. It is not developed at school. Most people say, well, you learn in school, you learn people skills. No. You learn those at home. You learn academic skills at school. The statistics developed at home is up to be angered or to be aggressive, direct link to being cursed at or being called these negative things.
I mean, I think, of course, I think it is definitely a direct link. It may not be the only link, but it's a gigantic part of it. Like I said, psychopaths and people with personality disorders, that's where these kind of things come from. I can give you an example from me with my children. My youngest daughter was with me a lot. So when she started going to school, it was hard for her to interact because she wanted to be with me because she was only with me. There was no other little kids around. Her sisters and brothers had gone to school. Her to transition into going to school and being away from me for long periods of time. She was the only kid that it was hard for to do that. Everybody else, they didn't really have a problem with it. But her, it took her a little bit longer to adjust to going to school and interacting with other kids.
So she see you at the day, she like, mommy.
Yeah, she's not happy to go and she's happy to come back home. So,
yeah, mommy, don't see me back to school.
Yeah, she didn't like it very much.
What is reassurance? What does reassurance build in a child?
I think it builds strength. It to do better and to want to be better. So I think that's a part of you giving yourself and loving your child and, or other kids, it's a positive. It's going to do the opposite of what all that cursing and negativity is going to do.
Bunch of statistics, and that's why, I want to make sure I really, reassurance is the greatest form of calmness in developing a calm, very, a very, what word I want to use, a very mannerable person, being calm, reassurance. See, negativity creates negativity, which grows negativity. It's a seed planted. But when you speak to your kids with calm reassurance, it makes them say to themselves, listen, way I have to be, because every circumstance that you reach can be negative and it can be overwhelming, but the gives them calmness to realize that 10% is actually what happens, but 90% of that is reaction. Because the greatest thing about that, it grows better reaction. See, when you look at that, but ways for parents to be able to discipline a person, or what are some steps that they can use to learn from cursing to get their point across without in discipline, to be firm but be reassuring and calming?
Have that dialect with your kids. You talk to them. You once you set a punishment, if you will, like you say, okay, you're not going outside tomorrow, or for 2 days, you have to stick to that. And then they learn, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna have an issue. I'm not gonna be able to play the PlayStation or whatever type of game. I'm not gonna be able to watch whatever TV shows, away from them. You take things away from them so that they will, conform to the things that they're supposed to do rather than getting into trouble and, fighting or whatever the case may be. Whatever they're in trouble for, you have to just stick to your guns with that. Just set some rules and set standards for them. Explain to them what the ramifications of whatever it is they did. Ask them what do they think their punishment should be. How could they have handled the situation different? Give them a different scenarios of how to handle different things. Issue comes up again or an issue like that, they'll know how to handle it better next time.
Okay, you made it. And we're gonna talk about some ways. You said the adults take a time out. Some of the exercises that adults can do in taking a time out from preventing them from cursing at their kids.
Do just that. Take a time out. Tell the child. I mean, you gotta do just that. Just take a time out. I mean, you walk away from it. You let the child know, hey, I'm gonna deal with you later, and we're gonna talk about this later. If you need to take things away from them during that period of time, the phone, the TV, the game, whatever it is, then you take that away. You take your many from 10 to 100 or however many deep breaths you need to take on the situation. Right, so you might want to write things down, stuff to remember, because you heat it right now. You may not touch on every point that you want to touch on, so you can sit there and jot down some little notes. People think it's corny, but it works. So that's what I would do.
And taking the time out, and I asked the question.
I'm sorry, and also when you're taking that time out, if it's another party involved, you talk to that party, because
there you go. And what do you talk about?
Exactly what happened. You want to hear both sides of the situation. Like a lot of people, what happens when things happen when children and adults are involved, unfortunately just take that adult side. They don't think about their child. They don't have that bond with their child. They just say, well, your teacher said you ABC and now you in trouble. Why? Why they in trouble? You don't even know what the situation was. You weren't there. So why you just gonna take the teacher word for what happened? Why you just gonna take the kid word? Talk to both sides, and if it's possible, talk to other people that was around during the situation, whatever happened. And you also have to remember, talk to kids crazy and belittle the kids in the classrooms. Watch them get bullied. All these things are factors.
Yes, that's why it is so important to talk about emotions. You never want to answer or do anything out of emotion. The reason for taking the time out, especially the adults, because sometimes when you do things in emotion, you can hurt somebody. Not to do is speak out of emotion. If I'm upset and I'm having one, that's when I'm quiet, because motion can be deadly. Motion can make you react to your kids in a manner. Emotion, being emotional, can make you talk to your kids in a manner that you shouldn't, because they're there. So a lot of times emotion can make people receptive or receiving what they wasn't or they're supposed to receive. That's why one thing I don't do is get into emotional content. I get into point discussion, but I don't get into emotional drawn questions. Like, a lot of times religion is a very emotional drawn question. Everybody wants to say what they believe is what they believe, so a lot of times you can't change everybody's belief. You got to know what God has done for you, and you got to know God personally. But you got a lot of people want to get very emotional, so they start to get anger. And when you speak out of emotion and react out of emotion, my grandmother, God rest her soul, used to always say, never let nobody rush you to speak. So I release, you can never take them back. And the damage that they cause is damage you got to live with for the rest of your life. Never let nobody rush you to speak. So when I see something going emotional, or when I see, even with my kids, I talk about those emotions. This is how I'm feeling. And I might talk to my kids, or I might talk to another adult or my mate. I'm feeling, this is why I'm feeling this way, and this is what is getting to me. So we got to talk about emotion. That's why it pays to address bad behavior calmly but firmly, but use consequences, but leave out threats. Let me say that again. Ooh, that's pretty good, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got to talk about emotions. That's the behavior calmly but firmly. Use consequences, but leave out threats. If you run out in the street, there's a possibility that you can get hit and die. And saying, you know what, you're going to go out here and get hit and get your block knocked off. Or it's saying is, you know what, if you have unprotected teen sex, there is a consequence or a possibility that you can get pregnant. You shouldn't have it. Now, threaten them, maybe like, if I catch you and you get pregnant, you're going to do this. That's different. Once we learn to use consequence without threat, we don't have to use curse words. See, I've never cursed at my kids to the point, or I never cursed at them like that. Now you got a problem. If you do this, respond differently. Now, this is the $1 million question that makes them think. Am I going to say something to you about it again? Or am I going to come out of bad? That remains to be seen. You can push it. But my kids knowing once I get quiet, ready to do something. But use consequences, but leave out the threats. What do you think about that?
I agree, but sometimes you're in a heated moment and you may just react. You can stop yourself from reacting, and you can be mindful and take that time out. But some people, they just react. But then that's when you go back to the whole mindset of how you even address your child in the first place. Because if you weren't cursing at them before, then you wouldn't be cursing them out right now, you know?
I think it's a cop-out. We always say you get heated in the moment. It's amazing how you can calm down quick. The police had a gun in your face. It's amazing how you can calm down at your job. See, people, one thing I've learned is people are crazy until they run into really crazy people. Okay. So a lot of times people say, I just got lost in the moment. Or alcoholic using good, I just got drunk and it came out. What she was doing, you just use that as an excuse to come out. We can always catch ourselves. This excuse for too long. Because if a police people say, well, I couldn't control myself and it was a heat of the moment. Okay, police got a gun in your head right now. And you go crazy, I'm gonna blow your brains out. I guarantee you all that tough.
That's a whole different scenario and a whole different. That can't even go in the same.
I'm gonna tell you why I can't. Every scenario has an adverse effect. Now, let's take 911. People have walked into death because they couldn't calm down. And at any given time, they could have calmed down. Any given time, somebody said, I could have did something different. That's the point. You know when people are locked up in jail and say, you know what, I got heated when they could have stopped any given time. There are many times that I have been in situations where I could have really hurt somebody and somebody could have really hurt me, but stop. Because you know why? The situation was elevated and raised. Because it's elevated. Something elevated will get, listen, man, just like our kids. I don't know what damage I'm doing to my kids by cursing them out later, which I'm going to talk to them and learn long-term effects, what it happens to your kids and why they do it. But this is me, and that's just me, and I know you might not agree, but it amazes me how people, when they're in a position where they don't have to calm down, they don't. But when they're in a position where they do, they do. Because, see, we all get a brain when we at our own wits. When we're in a place where somebody can hurt us, but when we're in a place that hurts somebody, we just lost control.
And like I said, if you were not cursing your kids out before, you're not going to curse them out at that moment when something happens. Like the moment that I talked about, my daughter and her friend were in the park and they got jumped. She had to run into the school. I was more concerned about how they were in the park after school when they should have been either at school or at home. You know, I wasn't coming to them angry, ready to curse them out or anything like that, because I don't curse out my kids. So that's not my thought process. Their kids would have been on that level. You know, that's what they would have been thinking about doing. You know, that's where their thought process would point, which is what the other parents were doing, pointing fingers, when that wasn't my focus, because that's not the type of parent I am.
Did you want to go jack them pants up? Did you find out?
Oh yeah, I addressed them. I didn't know. I wasn't ignorant, but I addressed it.
And they put their hands on your kid?
No, they didn't put their hand on my kid, but they were, you know, pointing the finger, trying to say that my daughter was, you know, it was her fault because of whatever happened, you know. But it wasn't, it's fine. That was fine. But
you see that little look in her eyes? This girl is crazy.
I am not crazy.
She flipped it on like this.
I'm silly. That's Medea.
They try to blame my kid. And I shut up. I backed up. You see my son just sitting over here like this. I know what she carrying in her purse. Do you see how she flipped the script? She done flipped the script so quick, like them eyes got big. I'm like, and they don't feel like I feel like, okay, all right. We cool.
Crazy.
Then put the cross up there. Huh? She right on me. You know, you better go on that. Y'all see that I'm suing for a new shirt. I want $150. I want $150,000, but I sell it for $5 right now.
That's funny.
Let me ask you a question. Person at your kids' child abuse?
Is it child abuse? I think it depends on the level that you do it. Like I said, when you go back to that mental and emotional abuse, if you constantly screaming and cursing at your child, making them, you know, belittling them, making them feel like nothing, telling them they're nothing, then yes, it is abuse. If you telling your kids they stupid, they're dumb, you know, they're MF or B, you know, are abusive. You know, you can't do anything right, or you can't do nothing right. You know, those type of abusive. You know, or you know, the mom or dad is somebody you may not like, and you say you're just like your daddy, you blah blah blah. You're just like your mama, you blah blah blah. Those type of things are abusive. Those type of things are anything that you're saying to a child is tearing them down, and you know what those things are, because you know if somebody said those things to you, you wouldn't like it. So those are the things that are emotionally and mentally abusive to a child. The things that are emotionally and mentally abusive to anyone, those same things. It's no different. It's worse to me because they're kids.
Let's talk about Let's talk about I can't even talk now. You done messed me up. Long-term effects. Why does curse words cause low self-esteem in kids?
Because you're putting them down. You're telling them they're nothing, you know. You making them go into a shell. So
now, one of the greatest factors of long-term effects on kids is kids mimicking the behavior. How would that make you feel as a parent if you were, not saying you are, a cursor, for your kids to mimic that? How would that make you feel?
Yeah, you are responsible. It don't matter if you feel responsible or you don't feel responsible. And that was one of my points that I don't agree or think is cute when small children curse and use profanity. A lot of people
talk about that. That's good.
Are laughing about that, but that is not cute. I've laughed about some stuff because there was a Facebook thing on before with this little girl, and she was talking about if the he gonna try to kick her A, and she said if he come, I'm gonna kick his A, but she didn't know he was cursing. Did you see that?
No.
Did you see that?
Wait a minute.
It's
Where
really
this
funny.
happened at?
It was like a long time ago. She was like, the mama said, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if the boogeyman come? She gonna say, she said, I'm gonna kick he A. And then she said, cause he gonna kick my A. She said the word, but it was like a baby talk, saying the word. And people think that that's funny and that's cute, and people teach their kids to curse. People say, tell him this, or tell her this, or smack him or smack her. They teach their kids to be disrespectful, thinking that it's cute. And then when they grow up and they're even more disrespectful, you don't think it's so cute anymore. That I think is a good thing to do. But that's just me.
Also, it says that kids that's being cursed at have poor stress management. How can that be so? Why do you think that's such? Why do you think that so many researchers feel that when you curse out of kids, you break down their ability to handle stress? They have poor stress management.
Bottled up inside of them. And they can't release, like you said, they can't fight their parents back, until they get to a certain age, because they become so disrespectful that they will try it. But they have all that stuff bottled up into them, and they just feel so down, and they just want to lash out. So,
have anybody ever said something to you as a child that was detrimental that you still remember today?
I don't think so. You?
No. I remember. Yeah. Police officer. I was a kid and I was going to a skating party, and we lived on 73rd and St. Lawrence. My mom remembered this. 73rd and St. Lawrence. I had to be about. I think I was probably about 12, maybe 12 or 13, and I had to get on a King Draft bus. And the guy, I was on a bus stop with another guy, and the police roll up, and they just snatched both of us. Years old, I'm a scared kid. And he like, shut the F up, get your dumb, go out, blow you. He got the gun all to my head, ready to shoot. Wow. And I'm like, these were Afro-American cops. For all you people that talk about the white cops, this was black cops. He just going off and, shut the F up. I'm not like, so I don't understand what you're asking me and everything. And like that, I'm going, and it shook me up so bad that I went to back home. I told my mom what had happened. I'm like, and I broke down and I didn't understand. And I'm like, wow. So for a long time, I had a very negative thought about cops. I hated cops for a long time. And whoever this cop was, about his people. I'm throwing juice in my. He didn't care about his people. He didn't care about. And it was just like, it was so detrimental to me, because I'm like, I could have got my head blown off for what? I'm N-word. I'm a shut your stupid A up and ask me questions before I knock your M. This is what this cop is saying to me. That's why when I see Boys to the Hood, when he had Trey on the car, like, you think you tough, huh? It was like that, and I'm a 12 years old, and that haunted me for a long time.
It bothers me with the whole statistic that you had, saying that children that are living in the ghetto, then they already heard these things, or they already seen these things. I don't believe that's necessarily true for every household or whatever. I don't like that whole statistic or ratio. That's ridiculous. It makes no sense. I did have a situation when I was in grammar school. I probably was like second or third grade, something like that. And it was a teacher actually. And it was one of those situations where, you're the black girl, you won't, you can't do better than this white girl. It was a particular white girl. Me and her was always into it because I had really long hair. I love my hair, and her hair was long too. get into it about that. So it was like that kind of thing.
Wow. So who won the long hair? Huh? Her hair was longer.
Her hair was longer than mine. Hers was past her butt. Mine was just too, like, right to my butt. So her hair
I ain't had no hair.
we see you still don't have no hair. But you like to talk about mine. It's so much. I think that's why.
Yeah, if I had like that, I had the wrong person call in. I'm like, oh my god, I love your hair. Kids that get cursed at, that they misplace the word love for another four-letter word. This is, just like you said, I'm statistic about, not surprised, because when you look at all the research, you look at people and you look at all the kids and families that are affected, most kids, they did a survey across the world at multiple schools in different cities and states. And every third grader to eighth grader knew every curse word already. They already knew, most of them. But that they hear it and they get it. But it says that most of these people that get cursed that replace those words with the words that they're saying. Episode of Lockup. And the guy said that I have been called so many derogatory things by my parents that that's what I thought I was. That they, my neighborhood now, they, and I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow a lot of people away. You can curse at your kids without even saying a curse word. Your kids, when you see them doing something and don't say nothing. Your kids, when you see them steal something and you try to hide it. You can curse at your kids for not disciplining them for cutting school. At your kids when you see them buying stuff, job, driving an Lexus, new cars, new stuff on. You can curse at your kids. What I mean by curse at your kids, you can be detrimental to your kids without ever saying anything detrimental. Because actions and words can hurt, but actions can too. And a lot of times you are telling your kids or cursing at your kids or using bad language or bad words, we don't correct them from doing it. Either teach the kids or the streets will teach them. A lot of the curse words, and this is the thing that I really want to talk about, that a lot of analysts is talking about. Most of the curse words that are used by our kids from an adult or from an environment or from a situation, world that gives that word a new meaning. Early in the show. That's the part about curse words that blew me away. Because every curse word of right now has two meanings. If I say the word damn, I can use damn as a river or something to hold back water, or I can use damn in a situation. You know, you think about something. I used hell in a sermon one day. I said that, you know, that we have to get the devil out of our mind, so we have to get hell off our thinking. So when somebody say, Corey, let's go do something that's wrong, I say, hell no. Corey, you know, come on, you know, let me come in, or let's do something that's not right. You know what? Get the hell out of here. You know, and or you know what? Hello, yeah, hell is a low. You know, or you know, and you can use different terms. Now, you're mad, you can say hell. You know, son of a bee. Think about that. When somebody calls you son of a bee, they're actually saying that your mom, ITCH. Think about that. And they're joking. Hey, you a crazy son of a bee. Dude, why you call my mom at her name? Do we really get that? MF. You call your kid a mother effer. Okay? Every time he has sex or she has sex with kids, they're MF, according to the thing. Think about the meaning of these curse words, what we call our kids. So you're telling a kid that you're MF, that means that you're telling him it's all right to go out there and have sex. Because what is a mother effer that have sex with somebody with kids? About that. Because and I'm here, and normally I don't have statistics, but when I did this thing, I want to talk about statistics because we say words, derogatory, mean words to our kids in one manner. That seed that the world gives it they give it a new meaning. A dumb A. Think about that. It's a dumb A. Now, think about something. Now, what is that word, the ASS word? It's also synonymous. It's also synonymous to a female's behind. Think about that. You are A, or you are a-hole. Think about that. When you think about the position of your private, where it is, about that. But we use these words so loosely and so richly, and we demean, demoralize, and degrade our kids, but we're not understanding these same words are being planted our kids because the world gives it another meaning. This show made me really use the show because when I started looking up the meaning of these curse words, when they start to come, think about something. When you say somebody S-H-I-T, you know what that is? S-H-I-T is the bowel feces. But it's also a moment of doing something called up by God by doing something stupid. Now, what do you say when somebody say that's a dumbass? You know what they saying? You stink. Somebody said something that blew me away. They were getting into an argument and the guy said, some toilet paper. He said, what you give me some toilet paper for? Paper for all the S you talking. And it just blew me away. Think about that. What you saying is thinking. And I'm gonna let April talk about that because I want to think about word association.
Funny. Yeah, I was just thinking about how you were talking about word association and the way that you act coincides with your words when you talked about that you behave towards your kids when you know they're doing something wrong and you don't respond to them. That was awesome. That was good. But I also want to talk about how we address each other, and I talked about that before. Calling your kids an MF or a B or whatever, each other as B's or MF or the N word. Those type of things, that's a big deal. We take it lightly, but it is a big deal. I try not to address people that way. Address them as by their name, queen or, something positive instead of saying something negative. I don't like for people to approach me and address me that way. Other people that way.
And let's talk about history. I didn't like it when they said, that's why I'm glad they took it to Afro-American. I did like the word Negro. See, Negro to me was just another word for the N word. And then what we call ourselves doing is in this generation, we're going to take that N word, we're going to take it from Negro to Nigga S. Okay? And you turn that backwards, that's sagging. That they're wearing their pants today, which shades that showing that they are available in jail. So when you look at that, the word association, what you say is powerful. You think about something. There are a lot of things that was associated with us in history that made us negative. That's why everything that was considered negative was black, blackball, black out. All
Exactly.
of you look at all those black names. Why? Because they didn't want black to be beautiful. Look at the association to the curse word. Look at the words word association. When you look at the word association with curse words, you're giving power to an action. You're giving power to an action. Powerful when you look at curse words and what you say to your kids. How can you get mad if you've been cussing your kid out? You ever seen the movie Boys in the Hood? Remember Boys in the Hood when they was kids?
Yeah.
She said, "You just like your daddy. He was S, and you ain't gonna be S. You don't do nothing but eat, sleep, and S. You ain't gonna be nothing." What happened? Both of her boys ended up dying. Ended up getting killed. Environment. So she got mad at him for cussing at the barbecue when you were cussing at him. See, we don't want to be examples no more, but curse words have effects. But they have effects in ways you ever think. Think about something. Why is all the negative rap always selling? Why negative comedians? See, I love comedians, but I really love Sinbad, and I love Dick Gregory, and I love Bill Cosby. I love comedians that don't have to do a lot of cussing. Now, you got some that do cussing but tell good stories. But you got comedians who can get up and make people laugh. But word association, letting your kids when you cuss.
I agree with everything you said. Okay.
Here's the thing. Curse words, to me, is a lack of vocabulary. Understand something. The way you plant your kids as far as cussing is the way they're going to plant to the world. I see it all day, every day. Kids with dirty mouths. I passed by a playground one day and I heard so many MFs and Bs, and it blew me away. And these are kids. Kids are having sex at young ages. It is time for the parents to step up. I want to make one more last point about curse words. Here's the thing. When you use curse words, and they use the same curse words at their kids, who started the cycle?
Who started it? The adult. The adult started it. It's up to us to make the change and break that change and break that change and break the cycle of what's going on so that our kids don't do it to their kids. But and get smart. Because it's really just a lot of ignorance.
I was reading something last night that's gonna blow everybody away. Pattern of cussing. And this family that cursed a lot at the way they cussed at their kids, pattern went all the way back to the 1800s. The same thing that his dad told him, he tells the same kids all the way down. That the same thing that the baby, same thing that the dad said, and the dad's dad, and the dad after that said. And this is passed down generational. But is there a reason to cuss at your kids?
No. What would be the reason?
What could your child do to make you cuss?
I mean, it'll be like something bad, something crazy, like. But that don't mean I'm One thing about me, I'm not going to call my kid out their name. I don't call them out their name. I have cursed in front of them, of course, and I have cursed at them. Like, just, maybe say, what the, what's this? What's going on? Something. But not to the point where I'm cursing my kids out. Like, I'm not going to curse my kids out. Like they me. Like, I'm not going to disrespect my kids like that. Disrespect, because I'm not going to let nobody else disrespect them like that.
So who is responsible? That's not committed.
The adults that have authority over them, their parents. Their aunts and uncles. The people that sit there and let them do it and think it's cute.
Have you ever, let's say for instance, would you, if you were on the bus stop and you seen a lady going in and cussing her kid out, would you say something? Why not?
What I'm gonna say? That's her kid. That's what she wanna do. I mean, I'm just gonna be looking at her like she crazy.
So if we don't get involved with people cussing our kids out,
look, I'm not about to be on the bus stop in Chicago over their child, because I'm gonna go to jail. They're not gonna go to jail. I'm gonna go to jail.
Because do you know that majority from 4th grade on to 8th grade, most kids get suspended for bad language?
It's not surprising. Now, what I might do in that scenario is say something, child or something to the parent as to like, they just busy. Like some people call their kids bad. I say, don't call them bad. They just busy, or they just kids or something like that. But I'm not about to be like, don't talk to him like that. No, I'm not doing all that. I'll figure out a way to say what I need to say if it's something I need to say. But other than that, no, I'm not about to be fighting you on the bus stop. I'm not doing all that. Because I'm praying that something click in your brain and your heart to make you stop talking to your child crazy like that.
There was a scenario, and I was reading this, and we're going to get to our final comments, but there was a scenario where the kid was getting suspended for 2 weeks for cursing, and the teacher brought the parent up, and the first thing the parent said, I told you not to use bad language. When to get home and kick your A. So, and
word, no.
I'm gonna kick your A when we get home. So
I told you about all that cursing.
Said, we're going to not suspend them, and we're going to send a counselor to your home. And the person said, well, why are you going to send somebody to my home? There's nothing wrong at my home. He know better. I said, your response to him cussing was, I'm going to kick your A when we get home. You've already established the cussing. So if you were a guidance counselor, a principal, parent,
I mean, I would address it, because that's why I'm in that forum to address it. On a bus stop, I'm not in the forum to address it. As a principal, a teacher, a counselor, we're in a meeting. I can address this issue with you in an adult manner, in an intelligent manner. I don't have to belittle you. I don't have to talk to you like you're nothing. I don't have to talk to you crazy. But I'm going to address it the way that it needs to be addressed. Realize what's going on. Maybe the person don't even realize it. Maybe they don't think about it. So I will just bring everything to the forefront, to their attention, so they can be able to see it. I'll plant those seeds for that person.
Powerful. We're going to, I want you to give me an overview of what you feel cursing, and then I'll give mine. But I want you to generalize this whole show. Talk about the facts, talk about what can be prevented, but talk about cursing at kids.
I think it's important that we take another look at this whole with using profanity and cursing at kids and to our kids. I'm actually working on not using profanity again, because there was a time in my life that I didn't curse, and then I became a sailor. So now I'm working on not doing that again, and I'm praying that God don't have to tame my tongue. I can tame it a little bit better myself. But I catch myself different things that I'm trying not to say anymore. And I think it's important that we pay attention to what we're doing and what we're saying in front of our children, because they're little kids, they're picking it up. They're little tape recorders and they repeat everything. My sugar baby is only 8 months old, and my daughter was saying something on the phone to me, and he was trying to repeat what she was saying. It wasn't anything bad, but I thought I was like, oh my God, he's so smart. He's trying to say what you're saying. And she was like, yeah, he's trying to say TT and everything else too. I'm like, wow. So they listen and they try to repeat you. They mimic everything that you say, everything that you do. Your children are watching. That's why I say when you talk to your kids, even if you think they're not listening to you, they're listening. They're paying attention. When they get around their friends and they're trying to be cool, they still paying attention to what's going on. They're still going to walk away like you told them to. So keep talking to them. Keep pushing in that positivity instead of what is so funny over here.
I just like the way you talk. You be cracking. Go ahead. You be cracking me up.
What? So, I don't know what's funny, but okay. Like I said, psychopaths and people with personality disorders, these type of things are, these type of people are created by parents mentally and emotionally abusing their children. Mental and emotional abuse. And if you do it to a child, a lot harder than it is on an adult. The things that you say to other people affect other adults. So the things that you say to children are going to affect them even more. Maybe you should think about what you're saying before you say it. Think about how you would take it if somebody was saying those things to you. You know, internalize it. If you were said those things to you, how would you feel? A kid is going to feel 100 times worse than how you would feel if somebody called you a B or called you an MF or called you out your name or talked about, you know, how stupid you are, or how dumb you are, that, you know, those kind of things. You're going to feel it deep, and it could hang around with you for days at a time, or months or years. So think about what it's doing to your child. If you're talking to your child like that, or anybody's child like that, nobody's child should be talked to like that. I don't care who they are. You have no right to abuse anyone. Let's see. Teaching kids how to curse, teaching them to be disrespectful, not cool. They're gonna be even more disrespectful. I'm a Southern girl. I don't believe in kids being in adult conversation. I don't believe in children butting in adult conversation. I just don't. I think a child's place is a child's place, and you need to make sure that your children are in their place and they know what their places are. And that's where we get mixed up with trying to be our kids' friends and having them, you know, around all the adults when adults are talking. They don't need to be in the same room when adults are talking. They need to be somewhere watching TV, playing a video game, somewhere else with the other kids. You can't hang with the other kids, then you need to go where the other kids are and take a nap or something, because you're not going to sit in the midst of all the adults and just be sitting here soaking up everything the adults are saying, because that's not your place. And that's basically it. You know, the way that you act and the things that you do, the things that you say, they all coincide. And you have to be careful what you do and what you say in front of your kids. They're paying attention.
My final remarks: the first man that a girl is ever gonna meet in her life is her dad. The first boy is gonna ever deal with in his life is his mom. And it's important what you give them the rest of their lives. Let me first address this, just like my co-host said brilliantly. It is not cute when you got kids cussing at babies. It might be funny now, but it ain't gonna be funny when they saying these words to you when they're old enough to curse you out. We have to understand that cursing and this derogatory language is not necessary. It is not needed, and it is not cute when kids do it. We raise kids in the ways that is right, and they will never depart from our teaching. But if you teach them nothing, they will learn nothing, do nothing, and grow into nothing. See, we have made that we feel because we've given life which we didn't give it, God gave it, but life came through us, that we have the right to talk to kids any kind of way, not understanding that there are long-term psychological effects on the child, like low self-esteem, like poor anger management, and being aggressive and being angry and being one of those people that like to fight, because they are a replica of what we do. They learn from our actions. Now, I'll say this all the time, that we are, that's visual, that we see what we do and we do what we see, even though if somebody telling us something different. Same thing happens with kids, that they're impressionable and they're soaking up everything we do. Just as my brilliant co-host said, they don't need to be in adult conversations. With that personally, one of my son moms, who always felt when she said something to me, she had to bring the kid in. He's a kid. He feels like he can talk to me any kind of way. Before he pick himself off the ground, he gonna have to pick himself off the ground again. Because when I was a kid, we didn't do that. When my grandmother spoke, my mom spoke, we learned how to shut what they call up. Because that's the respect my grandma and the people in my family commanded. Now, we have to understand that words have power, and they can derail a person's life by what we're planting in them. But just as I've used that example, Steve Harvey, when he couldn't be on TV, the teacher said he'd never be on TV, he sent her TV every year, still sending her TV every year. Words can affect you to do great or be just average or less than average. But we have to understand there's not a reason necessary to talk to our kids like they're out in the street. Social skills are developed in the home by parents, and it is our responsibility. Now, we can teach them that these things are not things you should say and that watch out for, but understand you that way, because you're better than that. You're more than that. And until we get that, and until we understand that we are planting our kids with the things we put in our heads, kids are replicas, and if we don't do nothing about it, they're going to live our failed life. A new sitcom, a new show, and a new preview is going to be a rerun. Those words, and I know my coach was saying some of these statistics don't make sense. You know why it don't make sense? Because don't nobody want to take responsibility for their home, their child. We have too many people burying their kids, going to funerals, lying about how their kid was growing up and how good they was when you didn't take notice or you didn't discipline when you had the chance. Now, innocent kids die too. But a lot of it has to do with it starts at the home. Parents, you're the most important people in your kid's life. To them will either propel them into greatness or keep them worse than you. I will never have a beer with my kids, even when they get grown. Not drink with them. There are certain things that I won't do. I am 44 years old and I won't curse in front of my mom. Nobody else to. I told my little nephew, you're not grown because you're grown because you can cuss in front of your parents. Disrespectful. My mom is still my mom. If I'm 90 years old, she's still my mom and going to respect. I got a vocabulary. I have an arsenal of words. I don't have to use curse words. I was told in school, curse words is a limitation of my vocabulary. Well, since I love to talk, I can't have a limitation on what I do well. So therefore, I can't use curse words. Your kid. You're destroying your kid before the world gets to them. They're going to take your curse words that you plant in their mind, and the world's going to teach it again. Just like that word F-U-C-K. A word in a manner that's saying that you're pissed off or you're mad, but the world's going to use it in a sexual sense. And you can't get mad because you planted that word and you gave it life. These cuss words, know the meanings behind them. Because every curse word has at least 3 meanings. Even though you didn't say it in that one of those other 2 meanings, don't say it in another meaning. Don't say it all. Teach them about it, but don't say it. And when you discipline your kids, consequences. Tell them what will happen if they do it, but don't tell them that's going to happen to them. Planet words you can't take back. You want to say anything else?
I think that you pretty much said it all. You said it all, but you guys, this is the holiday time. Love and care for our families. And we all know that there's life and there's death. We need to be protecting ourselves, protecting our families. I do have a business. I'm in life insurance and investments. So if anybody is ready to get out of debt or learn how to manage your finances, a lot of things we don't know. We need to get educated. I'm here to educate you. Give me a call at 224-214-0259. You can inbox me on Facebook, April the Agent. Hit me in my email, April the Agent, the number 4, the letter U at gmail.com.
Because tomorrow's show, we're talking about grown kids. We're talking about 40 years old still living with your mama and your daddy. People I know that's been almost 50 ain't had their own apartment. Grown kids, no holds barred, you know. And then Friday, we're talking about grandma, mom, and grandma, dad, and granddad, dad. When you got your kids calling your grandma mom and calling your granddad dad because they taking care of them, kids off on them. So this week we ain't playing. We coming. So tune in to tomorrow's show. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, your own rescue. If it was easy, there'd be no April the Agent. If it was easy, there'd be no Minister Corey Wright. If it was easy, there'd be no Earl Winfrey and IntellectualRadio.com. But most important, we know you. See you at work. Peace.
Get ready. People get ready. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board.